Ladies and gentlemen, for the men's singles final of the Brisbane International 2017, would you welcome to centre court from Bulgaria, Grigor Dimitrov. And his opponent from Japan, Nishikori.
So after 8 days of competition, it is the men's final here at the Brisbane International. And what a strong tournament we have seen. Plenty of twists and turns. And in this men's final, we have the number 7 seed, Grigor Dimitrov, walking out onto the court first. And then followed by the number 3 seed, the great Nishikori, ranked number 5 in the world, the 26-year-old from Japan. Grigor Dimitrov defeating Milos Raonic in his semi-final to be here. And Nishikori disposing of Stefo in his semi-final. After a hot, humid first couple of days of the tournament, it's been pretty muggy all the way through, but it's just the most perfect night. Absolutely magic conditions for the final. 25 degrees, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit of cloud around, but hardly any breeze at all. It is just picture perfect here at Pat Rafter Arena, which houses around 5,500 spectators. Grigor Dimitrov, who got to as high as number 8 in the world in 2014, looking like he was going to rattle some of the big names. Hasn't been able to go on with it since then, back to 17 in the world, but has been hitting them so cleanly this week and is really giving the top players something to think about leading into the Australian Open. Shortly, the coin toss. Mark Draper and John Millman in co-commentary. Good evening, lads. Mark, starting with you. Looking forward to this. It's going to be a really good final.
Should be a great match, Matt. We've got 2 great shot makers, fantastic athletes, and both in red-hot form this week. So certainly one I'm looking forward to watching.
All right, gentlemen, just before we get started, remind you everything is the same as previous matches. 25 seconds between points, please, when you're serving, and challenge quickly and clearly. When we're using Hawkeye, just show you the coin, bit unusual. ATP is the heads, and that's tails. Back to you, Grigor. Heads or tails?
Heads, please.
Heads called. ATP is heads, and you win.
Serve.
Serving and saying photos both ways today. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. No worries.
And John, as I say, good evening to you. Nishikori defeating Darrett Donaldson, the big young American, and then young Jordan Thompson from Australia, and Stan Wawrinka on the way through here, and was quite comprehensive against young Jordan, a man you know well, obviously. Any early thoughts leading into this final tonight?
It's going to be a cracker. I think Mark hit the nail on the head there. Both of these players are some of the better athletes on tour. You've got the explosiveness of Nishikori, who one of the more dynamic players on tour, and then we've got Grigor Dimitrov, who great athlete, great mover, and also a very good shot maker. His variety might trouble Kay at times, and Kay's going to look to really hit with a lot of quality, and I think that it's going to be a fantastic match. Long rallies, because both of the players move so well. It's going to be a really good one for the spectators, this one. 4 career titles for Grigor Dimitrov. Won Queens in 2014, along with Bucharest and Acapulco, and also won Stockholm in 2013, and exemplified his extreme talent and also his versatility by winning those 4 tournaments, all on different surfaces. Has that classic one-handed backhand as well, which has had him likened to the great Roger Federer. In fact, getting to a stage in 2014, I think he was getting sick of the comparisons with the great Roger Federer, but has been hitting them so well. And John, you're quite right. Some of the shots, especially in the semi-final for the show reel, were absolutely outstanding. Grigor Dimitrov playing out of his skin here, and is a real chance in this final. His opponent,
Well, he's not just a great tennis player, but brand now from Japan. Ranked 5 in the world, 26 years of age, 11 career titles, including winning Memphis on 4 occasions in 2016, 2015, 2014 and 2013. In 2015, a good year as well, winning Barcelona and also winning Washington. And in 2016, it was his second Grand Slam semi-final at the US Open. In the end, disposed by 𝕉𝖔𝖘𝖆 in 4 sets. As I mentioned, capturing that 4th straight Memphis title last year. On the way here, Donaldson, Thompson, 𝕉𝖉𝖔𝖘𝖆, and has been in good form here in Brisbane. His career titles going all the way back to his first at Delray Beach in 2008. Very experienced man in the chair for this final, Fergus Murphy from Ireland. He's a man that doesn't take any nonsense, so that's why he's in the chair for the big final tonight. Head-to-head, Nishikori leads 3-0. They met each other last time in Toronto. Kei Nishikori won there, 6-3, 3-6, 6-2. Before that, Nishikori defeated Dimitrov in 2014 Miami in straight sets, but it was a hard tussle in straight sets, 7-6, 7-5, and then back in 2013 in Shanghai in straight sets.
I was most impressed with just how well he was hitting the ball, particularly off the forehand wing. He was working a lot on his slice backhand, which we may see him incorporate tonight. If he uses his slice backhand well tonight, then it may give him the opportunity to get around and really attack with his forehand, which I'm sure he's going to be looking to do.
And John, have you had the pleasure of playing either of these men?
I have. I've played Kei actually at the Olympics in 2016. And I've practiced with Kei a little bit actually, and great guy, really good guy, and he's a tough player to play against. I think what makes Kei so tough is the fact that he's so quick. He's got so much quality from the baseline, but because of his athleticism and because of how fast he is around the court, I think players can't quite get sucked into trying to go for a little bit too much. There is that temptation there to maybe lower the margins and go a little bit closer to the lines, lower over the net. But I still think that Grigor's got to be patient here. Give him respect, but not too much respect. You can't try to play out of your skin against him, and that's what I tried to do when I played against him in Rio. He got the better of me there. He's a very good player. He's a tough one to put away, and he competes really hard. So it's going to be a fascinating encounter, this one. I've trained with Grigor. I haven't actually played against him. I actually hit with him in Stuttgart earlier in the year, and he was in a bit of a slump then. He'd gone through, I think, about a month of not winning a match, and he was actually a little bit unimpressive there. You could tell he just lacked a little bit of confidence and conviction with his shots, and I think the real turning point for his season last year, I think he was about 40 in the world when he got Dani Vallverdu on board, former coach of Thomas Berdych. And that really turned things around for him last year.
You're quite right in that losing streak, especially to players in the top 10, and he got over that, beating Murray halfway through the year.
Take your seats quickly,
so
please.
to
First set.
Commence proceedings here
Grigor
in this
Dimitrov to serve.
men's final.
Ready.
Grigor Dimitrov to serve.
Play. $15 love.
Straight away, Kei's moving so well. You have to go with a tiny bit more quality if you're going to approach to Kei's forehand wing, because he'll track it down and he'll make you play a tough volley.
We see early on there too that Nishikori directing a lot of attack into Grigor's backhand, which I think will be what he's looking to do a lot tonight.
30-15.
Well, in the semi-final, Grigor only hit 7 unforced errors against Milos Raonic. It was a very controlled performance. He's going to have to keep that intensity tonight.
think what Grigor did so well against Milos was neutralising Milos's serve. Obviously, Milos gets a lot of free points off that first serve, and he feels comfortable when he can get in that rhythm. And Dimitrov did such a good job of chipping the return, blocking it, and then starting off the point.
It's going to be very interesting to see how he attacks the Nishikori serve, because
30-40.
he gave Milos a completely different feel, didn't he, to the night before, where Nadal took the ball so far back, whereas he was taking them a metre inside the baseline.
I was fortunate to watch that Rafa match, and Rafa was returning them a metre behind the Brisbane side.
Yep, great serve to save the break point there. I'd say, generally speaking, Grigor was going to have the edge in free points on serve, so he's going to definitely look to get a high percentage of first serves in to get control of the point.
And what
Advantage.
Kay does so well on the return is that faster, flatter serve. He takes it early. He likes it in his slot. I think Grigor, you know, as the match wears on, might mix up his spins a little bit, try to kick him off the court, and just try to get it out of that slot of Nishikori, because I think he's a little bit more susceptible up higher on that return than at hip height.
Second break point.
Great rally. Quality ball striking from both ends there.
Deuce.
Always a good game to get out of if you can save 2 or 3 break points in the first game. A few nerves around. Grigor's doing a good job of staving off 2 break points so far, so it'll be a real confidence booster if he can get out of this game.
Good cheap point on serve.
Advantage Dimitrov. Game, Dimitrov.
Not handling the backhand slice that time of Dimitrov's, and it's a good hole in the end from the Bulgarian. It's 1-love in the men's final. Good crowd in, packed house. And I know this is your home court, John. Great stadium with the roof over the top, but not completely enclosed, shielding the spectators mainly from the sun, but the breeze and the rain can get in occasionally, but it's just a great feel and just perfect here.
Fantastic court, this one. I've been lucky enough to play on some of the bigger courts around the world, and I might be a little bit biased, but this is right up there with them. The Brisbane crowd really make it. They get behind the players. They love tennis here, and they create, you know, this dome, this dome of atmosphere. And the players, I know for a fact the players love coming here and playing on centre court.
Gee,
Okay, Nishikori.
I think I've met too many parochial Queenslanders, or biased Queenslanders.
No such thing.
He's one of the best.
No such thing.
$15.
Interesting there straight away. You see Dimitrov, 3 backends in that rally. A slice, then a shaped one with a bit of spin, and another slice. I think that's just trying to get Kei out of that rhythm there, and I think it is how you have to approach playing someone with like Kei Nishikori.
We did notice too on the one that he tried to shape was against the ball that Kei actually hit at him with a bit of topspin, and Grigor just couldn't quite get the timing right when it was up near his shoulders, which is something that I think Nishikori could be aiming to exploit a little bit more as the match goes along. Great return on the stretch there. Fast and deep down the middle is always good.
Lovely down the centre from Nishikori. Hasn't failed a first serve in this first service game yet.
Yeah, Kei doesn't have the biggest serve in the world, but he has a sneaky quick serve, and when he's hitting his spots, he can also get some free points. But probably where Grigor's going to look to attack is the second serve. It's not the greatest second serve in the world. It doesn't have a lot of kick on it. So I think Grigor's going to look to try to get around on the second serve and be very aggressive off the forward wing.
Kei has got to serve to really set up the next ball, doesn't he? He'll serve to spots in the court where he thinks he's got the highest percentage of chance to get around and really dictate with his forehand, which is what he's looking to do. It'll be interesting because Dimitrov likes to take that return nice and early, and maybe a few body serves might be in the mix a little bit later on.
For sure.
Love.
Easy put away for Nishikori in the end. Dimitrov, he'd be really keen here tonight after that loss in the final here some 4 years ago. But remembering in the Sydney final only 12 months ago, he held one match point against Viktor Troitsky, and in the end it was 7-6 in the third. Desperate for an Australian final win here.
Both players have been great supporters of the Brisbane tournament, haven't they? The Brisbane International. They've been coming for many years. I remember when I, was here a bit more of a hitter playing the qualies out here. I remember hitting with Dimitrov and cheering on Kei against Thomas Berdych a long time ago. So I think they both really would like to start off the season with a win and winning this tournament, because they obviously really enjoy coming back to Brisbane each year.
Nice first serve there to get him back on level terms. Saw there again, Kei just shaping the ball with a little bit more lift off the court. Grigor a little uncomfortable with that one, and just couldn't quite catch it early enough and pushed it into the alley.
And it's a little bit harder to control that backhand slice, which I don't think Kei wants to be getting in that exchange too often. I think he's a little bit more comfortable with the ball sitting up a little bit more, and he can pin him back there with a bit of shape, it is a little bit trickier for Dimitrov to really knife that slice back with any quality.
It's a great point there. Good first serve, dictating with the forehand, and certainly asking the question of Kay there to come up with a great pass.
Nishikori just chipping into the Dimitrov service games early. But Grigor gets it back to deuce. This third game of the match.
What this does, though, when you've had a few extended service games,
Advantage Dimitrov.
kind of feels like you don't have much let up. You get through it, and then, you know, Kay had an easy hold before, and all of a sudden the pressure's right back on you. And what this is just building up pressure again and again. So it's been a very good start from Nishikori so far.
He had his first service game against Wawrinka in the semi-final in 11 minutes.
Just going to have to watch some of those second serves. He's dropped too short in the middle of the box there to second court, and Kay's dealt with it fairly severely both times.
Yeah, he's only won so far 1 of 5 points off his second serve. So already part of the Dimitrov makeup that's been exploited by Nishikori. Early pattern, we're back to deuce. So agile, this man. So agile.
Terrific coverage, terrific anticipation. Certainly, Kay put him under the pump with an unbelievable pass cross, but Dimitrov's athleticism got him out of that point.
You can see why. He's won tournaments on grass, clay, hard courts, indoor hard courts. He can slip and slide all over the place. Great athlete. Oh, good deep hitting from Nishikori that time.
One thing, Johnny, that you mentioned after you played Kay in Rio was how quickly he gets onto the short ball. And we saw an example of it there. Dropped it a little short from this end, and then he was just pounced on it in behind it. Very quick feet.
Yeah, anything short, he's up to it really quickly. It's probably one of his greatest strengths, in my opinion. And
Hey, he's hanging tough here.
Advantage Dimitrov.
Sometimes it can work two ways. As Johnny mentioned, the pressure can build, and then you can get broken, or you can just keep staving off break points and use that as a bit of a confidence builder to, you know, finally when you get a chance to take your break point, it can come against a run of play.
Game Dimitrov.
So after a bit of an arm wrestle, he holds. Grigor Dimitrov leads 2-1.
Dimitrov leads.
I think it's got to be touched on just how hard it is to come back from an injury mentally and physically, and I think Thanasi, you know, would be really happy that all the hard work's paid off, and so far so good. Fingers crossed he pulls up well from it, and he moves on now, and obviously he probably very much enjoys his singles, and that's, I think, what he's worked so hard to get back for. So hopefully his body holds up and he can get through, I think, this summer of tennis, to give even the body just a little bit of confidence that it can withstand the loads, and it can be good to go for the rest of 2017, and hope it's a far more successful and fruitful one than 2016 was.
So after a bit of a battle in that previous service game, Dimitrov leads 2-1. We're on serve here in this final.
So Dimitrov aiming to get round that one, but really wasn't on balance for it. Was struggling to make the room and consequently made the error.
What do we think of Kay's flashy Nike shoes? He had been with Adidas for as long as I can remember him, and he's donned the Nike shoes for the first time this year. I'm sure they wouldn't be giving him too much for that.
Nice flashy whip across court there after the pace had gone off the ball thanks to the net cord.
Red's certainly an appropriate colour for the speedy move.
And the Japanese flag, isn't it? Red and white.
Yeah, great work by Dimitrov. Really worked hard to get around that first off forehand, which actually got him on top of the point, and from that point on had Kay on the run.
And you notice there with the width, he really has to, if he's going to spread Kay off the court, he has to go with a bit of quality, because if you give Kay width with not much quality, he'll really punish you. In that instance, though, he really dragged him off the court, opened it up, and could dictate play a little bit more.
Goes for his preferred option there, you'd probably say. He likes the flatter one out wide to second court.
Was on his way in too for the serve volley. You don't see that too often with Kay.
Yeah, it was well placed, bit of pace on it too at 184. So rifling through this service game.
Nishikori.
Well, they'll try and run everything down Dimitrov, but that was a forceful point from Nishikori. All on serve.
2 games on.
So as Johnny mentioned earlier, it'd be ideal if Dimitrov can actually run through a service game just a little quicker and easier to just alleviate the pressure and you're having to work so hard to keep holding every serve.
That's a good start. Shallow return, and it was punished. Good cramping serve, and this is the service game he wanted.
Yeah, great body serve there. Just keeping Kay honest and
Great 1-2 there.
Seemingly Kay thought that one was going long. Thought he might have had it covered, but opted to let it go. Very difficult return to cover that one. You're obviously serving from the left of centre, and if a player can fire the ball fast back across their body, not much you can do about that one.
Dimitrov winning 17% only of second serves at the moment. He doesn't have to worry about a second serve that time. That was comprehensive down the tee, and his fastest serve to date at 208 kilometres an hour. Dimitrov leads 3-2.
And it tends to drop a little bit more. Unlike drier conditions where it'll fly off the racket, here you can really go after your shots and they'll drop, and that'll ensure that the rallies are quite extended, and it'll play for a pretty aggressive tennis and ball striking from the baseline.
Balls have been playing a little quicker this year too.
Crazy.
Johnny was practicing prior to the BI, and certainly much quicker than last year.
Feel like a completely different ball to last year, to be honest with you. It's almost they're not getting soft and really kind of trampolining off the racket a little bit.
Beautiful wide serve there.
Well, that's a great demonstration there how it's not always about speed. Not a heck of a lot of speed on that serve, but really drew him beyond the doubles alley.
Just a little 149. Great work.
Well, it was tough work initially for him. He had the serve that really body cramped him. But that classic backhand winner that we're so used to seeing from him, and it's the first classic example of the night.
Really committed to stepping into that one. Kay was trying to get some shape on it, but it dropped a little deeper, so Grigor was able to hit it about waist height.
That slump you were talking about from Grigor Dimitrov last year, John, he had a losing streak. It was a 6-match losing streak for 2 months.
Yeah,
so it lasted quite a while.
May to end of June, I think, and
fell to 40 in the ratings.
Yes,
or rankings, and he's now back at 17.
Yeah, like I said, I hit with him in Stuttgart, and he just wasn't striking the ball cleanly. And it's a tough time when you go onto the grass and you're not really striking the ball that cleanly. The ball's coming onto your racket a little bit quicker. And you have to be pretty confident when you step onto that surface. You could tell he was just a little bit off. Now, that could be a variety of things. You can go on runs where you lose a few matches, and with that goes the confidence, or we don't know. Great shot there. I love that intent on the Nishikori second serve. You know, that serve didn't have a lot on it, probably low 140s there, and he's absolutely stepped in and shown Kay that he's not going to mess about, and that'll put pressure on Kay, knowing that in the back of his mind, Dimitrov's got that intent there.
That was in the hitting zone, that one.
Mr. Nishikori challenging
now the first challenge of the match. It's taken a while, nearly up towards the half-an-hour mark. Now this ball called in by the lines judge.
He's got his balls here. I don't know if he's too confident.
Who's in?
Oh, stand.
Another skin of his teeth.
First little look here at the Nishikori serve. Good inroad here by Dimitrov.
Well, it was there to be hit. He's just missed the chalk.
Dimitrov.
Possibly just a fraction flat-footed for Kay there, and didn't quite get around to really step in and execute.
First pivotal part of the match here, 3-2.
Mr. Nishikori has 2 challenges remaining.
Dimitrov has a look at the Nishikori serve.
Let's see if he looks to attack if Kay misses his first serve.
Big difference between 3-all and 5-2.
Folks.
Well, that's a big break for Grigor Dimitrov. He has started very well indeed and leads 4-2, and
Dimitrov
will look to consolidate the break in a moment.
And that'll be very frustrating for Kay 2 of Dimitrov's service game, he's been right in there, and like Mark said, he's Dimitrov managed to stave off a couple of chances, and all of a sudden against the run of play,
Took his first chance.
Takes his first chance.
Incredible flexibility and athleticism there to track down the right ball beforehand.
This is very
15
early
love.
on when he lost his footing on all fours almost, and
Almost like a 𝕇𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖆.
Yeah, we don't see the guys getting down that low. We see it a lot on the women's tour, but yeah, he certainly was emulating 𝕇𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖆 there.
oh, that's a cracker.
Yeah, that's the play that Grigor is looking for. He wants to dictate with his forehand off that first ball. Good option there just to kick it into 𝖘's backhand, get it a little higher. And I think 𝖘 is probably less damaging off the second serve return on the backhand. He doesn't want to drop the one short onto the forehand, because we saw earlier that he paid the price when he did that. Incredible volley. And it's really great to see
40 love.
volleying skills. We don't see it as much probably as we used to in the past, but when we see the likes of Dimitrov and Federer come forward and show off their vast array of skills, I think the fans really love it.
I think court surfaces have slowed down so much. Conditions, guys playing with the, you know, the
40-15.
bangers and the Luxalon types of strings, the poly strings. It's made it so much harder to approach with some decent quality enough to get that volley. So, like you said, Mark, when you see someone that has such great skills around the net, it's actually quite fun to watch, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Again.
Just missing,
Dimitrov.
and it's a crucial one for Grigor Dimitrov. What an early break he's got. What a start to the final. He leads 5-2.
Dimitrov leads 5 games to 2. New balls, please.
You know, is a great returner of the ball, so he'll be looking to hold here and really put the pressure on Dimitrov to hold it out, because he'll be backing himself to really make an inroad on Dimitrov's next service game and make it as difficult as possible for him to take a 1-set-to-love lead.
Time.
So the onus is with Nishikori to stay in the first set on serve. It's down 2-5.
Love 15.
Becoming a little bit predictable with that wide serve. He's looked to go there quite a fair bit now, and I think Grigor's starting to lean that way and returning that one with a little bit of quality. I think he's just got to mix that up just a tiny bit more. Maybe a couple of sliders into his body. Occasional one down the tee.
62% of the time he's used that
59.
sliding serve, Nishikori, on the first serve.
And what that does is Grigor will just be leaning towards that one. He won't necessarily be going there too quickly because Kay hasn't got the fastest serve. That's maybe 65% of the time now.
Just got burned again.
Yeah.
I'd say what his rationale is for going out there is he feels like he's opening up the court and can direct the attack into Grigor's backhand straight away. But the problem is he's getting hurt by Dimitrov's forehand return on the stretch.
So it's hard to go with any type of quality into that backhand side. I really like at the moment the ball flight of Grigor's off that backhand wing. When he's not chipping it, he's starting to really find his range with that topspin backhand. And as you can see, it's just jumping up a little bit and just getting outside of Kay's strike zone. And it's pretty common with Japanese players. I know Kay did a lot in America growing up, but the Japanese players, on a product of growing up on these faster courts that really slide through, I think they do tend to struggle when the ball gets up outside their strike zone.
Well,
30-40.
for that reason and a few more, it's been a tough set. A tough night at the office so far for Kei Nishikori, and he's served himself out of trouble here, a set point.
What you're looking to see is players identifying losing patterns, and it seems like Nishikori hasn't quite identified that. Certainly in the latter half of the set, he's getting burnt when he serves wide to that forehand.
He's done it. And first set, Dimitrov.
So into the net it goes, and a big come on from the Bulgarian, and he takes the first. 6-2.
6 games to 2.
Tactical than actually needing to go to the toilet. It's within the rules of the game right now.
Could be tactical for himself to clear his head a little bit. It's been an onslaught so far.
Well, you know, that's what I'm led to believe. Like I said, it is within the rules of the game, so you are allowed to do it, whether, you know, that's...
yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the toilet break, and obviously you would hate to deprive someone of a call of nature, but the rule is probably abused a little bit, and definitely players like to go off and just regather their thoughts and spend a little time on working out what they're going to do in the next set.
I think especially then when the momentum just completely switched, and you know, 4 games on the trot for Grigor. Got to try to do something to try to stop that rot. Really important that Kay gets himself back into this match and at least doesn't let Grigor have an easy hold here. We want to make returns, extend the rally, and really find his feet again and start afresh now.
Well, everything's in the Bulgarians' favour. He's serving, starting off the second set.
love.
Couple of deep breaths there from Kay, trying to compose himself, annoyed with that easy error on second serve.
all. Steady 15.
Up there with his fastest serve of the match, 209 that one. Fastest serve so far for Grigor, it's been 211 kilometres an hour. Just turning up the heat now, feeling good, getting a good rhythm on his serve at the moment.
that's a play that Kay likes to use. He tries to dominate court position, and when he feels like his opponent is well beyond the baseline, he's quite adept at just changing the grip and using the forehand drop shot.
And even the wheels of Dimitrov, who's extremely quick, couldn't quite track that one down.
Oh, shot.
Wow, great point. Really used his feet there well. Got down to the ball, got around it, set it up with this slice here. Makes Kay have to hit that slice back. Dropped a little bit of quality off there, did Kay, and Dimitrov really got inside the court and around it to create that off forehand angle.
Dimitrov holds, and it's 1-love. Grigor Dimitrov. And it's been 43 minutes, and so far it really has been a dominant display. Let's have a look at what our friends at Hawkeye have for us, and we're going to concentrate on the first serve placement of Nishikori.
Yeah, he's gone out wide there 70% of the time on first court, and what we alluded to before, it seemed as the match wore on, as the first set wore on, that Grigor started to predict that one and sit all over it and return it back with a bit of interest. He's only won 29% of that, so we're hoping that Kay might have used that toilet break to maybe have a think about that and maybe show a little bit more variation, because it's a ploy that's not quite working right now.
Well, we can see that when he serves anywhere but the forehand, he's won 100% of the points. Yeah. So if you were his coach right now, you'd probably be screaming at him, serve anywhere but the forehand.
His coach right now would like the WTA rule where they could maybe jump on court and tell him.
Real shank that time from Nishikori.
And because Kay doesn't have a genuine kicker that hops to the left of his opponent, you can cheat a little bit and get around and look to hit forehands off that second serve.
14 unforced errors for Nishikori.
Oh, he did well there. I thought he'd gotten himself into a bit of trouble there.
Wasn't that an extraordinary point? It was the most awkward looking Nishikori could have been, and he's been able to adapt so brilliantly as this ball floated over the net.
I don't know whether he thought it was going out or he just lost track of where he was in the court there.
He just clubbed it, hasn't he?
Yeah, misjudged it for a second, but did well to adapt and hit the backhand down the line winner.
Set it up with the serve. Yep. This is a good response from Japanese star.
30-15.
Yeah, he's certainly got to keep him honest, probably more so on the second serve, every now and then just cutting it wide to first court, so Grigor can't look to run around too many second serves. So again, we see Grigor go 2 topspin backhands cross court and change it up straight away with a slice line.
30 all.
Smart play.
He looks up for it, doesn't he? Coming back to collect his towel and real intent on his face here. He notices that he wants to keep this momentum going and he thinks he has a sniff here.
Normally you see
30-40.
players of K's caliber, when they're making errors like that, they're feeling the pressure. He's probably having a hard time working out how to make inroads into Grigor at the moment. He's moving brilliantly, he's defending well, he's attacking well. So K probably feels like Grigor's shrinking the court on him a little bit.
16th unforced error. This is a big point.
Oh, that's a gutsy move, that one, because it's not necessarily his most natural game to serve volley. Shapes the ball off the court, not a true kicker, but gets Grigor chipping that return. But Grigor did a pretty good job of it, but great backhand volley coming in.
It can be a good play against a guy who does like to chip his backhand return to throw in the odd serve volley because, you know, they can get comfortable just floating the return deep. So you want to keep them honest with the odd serve volley in the match. That was an incredible shot there from K. Very awkward position from that short in the court to penetrate up the line as well as he did.
Nishikori.
Danny Vilverde, Grigor's coach, went to University of Miami. Did all 4 years there of college tennis. He's a big advocate for college tennis. Likes the system and the setup there, especially if players aren't quite ready to jump out on tour straight away as an 18-year-old.
Again,
So that's a good hold in the end. That could have blown out dangerously for Nishikori, facing break points at 1 love down. But it is 1 game all, back on an even keel in the second set.
And the beauty about tennis is it doesn't take too much sometimes just to turn the momentum around back in your favour. Saved a break point there. If you can manage to come out and apply some pressure in the early parts of this game, then perhaps Grigor might have a mental blink and get broken. So that's what K's looking to do, is exploit, well, not exploit, but take advantage of the fact that he's just held a tough game, saving break point, time to pounce right now.
15 love.
So faster the match, 212 kilometers an hour. Great response from the Bulgarian.
4th ace of the match for Grigor Dimitrov.
Love.
Yeah, it's terrific serving.
Interesting looking. I just picked it up on Grigor's shoes there, the instep of his left boot. He's worn it out almost halfway up, close to the heel there. And that just shows you his movement. He gets into that splits position and just covers so much court. You don't normally see a little hole forming there underneath that, the end of the Nike tick.
Unleashing the backhand. And
good play there, though, because he lost it on his terms. It was there to be hit. He went after it, and I think he'd be satisfied losing points in an aggressive fashion. Obviously, he'd prefer to win them, but he fully committed to that backhand.
Slice backhand, drawing the error again from...
What it does, too, if a player can slice really well, just as Dimitrov did cross-court, it's not easy to take that one up the line. So they can actually cheat a little bit and stay left of centre a little bit more and look for that forehand.
And that's what Dimitrov wants, doesn't he? He wants to be able to get around and dictate terms with his forehand.
Yeah, Dimitrov.
And he's able to do that in the 3rd game, and he leads 2-1 in the 2nd set.
Dimitrov leads 2-1.
And K's teammate in Davis Cup, and you wouldn't know who the local hope was and who the Aussie was, because they're very respectful, and also to touch on how supportive they are of tennis. I think they had over 10,000 people there for the week. They had 5,000 there, as big as this stadium
for a challenger.
For a challenger final, it's really taking off, and a lot of that goes to Kay. The interest in tennis there that he's created has just been massive for the sport in Japan.
Well, it's on serve here in the second set. The momentum certainly with Dimitrov, but Nishikori just hanging in for the moment. It's quite remarkable. Almost unreturnable at 148 kilometres an hour, but missing.
Great work.
Great example there of how Kay seized upon a slightly shorter ball. Certainly wasn't a poor shot by Dimitrov cross court, but Kay took it quickly down the line and basically was too good from that point on.
It's what Grigor's done so well, though. He hasn't given Kay the opportunity to do that. He's been playing with so much quality so far that really limiting Kay's ability to get up and transition.
15-all.
Not a heck of a lot on that serve there, allowing Dimitrov to gain the ascendancy in the point.
No, knew as soon as he hit it.
30-15.
Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes when you're out on the court and you know you're about to hit a shot that's not smart, and you occasionally go through with it anyway.
It's especially not smart against someone like Kay, who's one of the quickest on the tour, if not the quickest. That's
wow.
Unbelievable. Did he make it?
He made it.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's the rally of the match so far. And how did he get himself out of that little hole? That Nishikori, it was getting blasted at him.
Demonstration of unbelievable athleticism at both ends there. That ball there,
unbelievable,
and that one there, both extremely difficult shots.
He had to pick away, and he chose the right one.
High caliber stuff from Kay Nishikori, and levels it up at 2 games apiece.
It's interesting how we're products of where we grow up in, and
2 games all.
Playing a lot in Japan, you see it on the faster indoor synthetic courts, indoor carpet, indoor hard. The Japanese players love the ball in their slot. They generally move pretty well, but
very efficient players.
Very efficient players. Hard to necessarily play through them too much. And then you see Dimitrov, a contrasting style. He shapes it up a little bit, hits with a bit more spin, has that kick serve, and that would have been from playing on the clay, on the dirt in Bulgaria. It's really common around the world to really how different parts of the world and their players have different styles, and yeah, this is a good indication at the highest level. Obviously, they can do a lot of things and almost anything out there, but it's a really good example of the contrasting styles and it being a product of where they've grown up in.
Oh, he really unleashed again there, and now Nishikori, yeah, he's just going to have a little look here at love 30.
He'd be loving a second serve here. We've seen Grigor get a lot of purchase of his big flat 1T lately. Will he change it up?
It's going might challenge that.
I reckon
Dimitrov.
Kay thinks this one's in.
Challenging the
Probably
ball.
worth a look, I'd say.
Left baseline, ball was called out.
Kay's body language indicative of it maybe catching the back of the line here. No,
Ball stand.
it's long.
Love 40.
I've learnt that after a week here. Never take on Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Got one too.
15-40.
Good job by Kay there, though,
Mr.
to
Dimitrov has
make
two
him play.
challenges.
You don't want to
remaining.
give away cheap points when you've got break point. So full credit to Dimitrov for a quality 1-2 punch there.
He'll be disappointed with Kay there because I thought Dimitrov's approach didn't quite have the quality that
30-40.
we've expected to come from his wing, and Kay there, I thought he had a bit of a look at that forehand.
Yeah, 100% agree, John. We've seen it a lot this week where the guys have been approaching sometimes cross-court into their opponent's forehand and generally not a recipe for success.
Let's first serve.
Going back Kay here.
Let's second serve.
108 kilometers an hour. Is that right? That's thrown over.
I don't think it caught too much of his strings there.
That's thrown over.
And
Too big.
Nishikori.
And Nishikori is now in the box seat in this second set, 3-2, and will come out and consolidate the break.
Nishikori leads.
We've been going an hour,
2-2.
and this has been a good fight back halfway through.
Week. And certainly one that I think the fans are really enjoying watching.
It's a good feeling, isn't it? You've put in the hard work over the pre-season, and some harder than others. And you really want to hit the ground running in this first tournament of the year. And with the Australian Open falling so quickly after the longest break that a tennis player has over the Christmas period, it's a big confidence builder to, you know, win some early matches, be playing final, and hopefully winning the title. It's got to be a good feeling for these players to know that they're in good form heading into one of the 4 biggest tournaments of the year in a couple of weeks.
$15.
The one thing is about Kay is, whilst you never feel too comfortable and that you're going to have an easy hold because he returns so well, even if you fall down a break, you will feel as if you'll have your chance if you can execute well from the baseline, because generally speaking, you'll be able to string a few returns together to get inside his service points. Service games, I should say.
And there is the first ace of the match for Kei Nishikori. A momentum swing here. And puts it away, and does consolidate the break in this second set. That game only lasting 66 seconds.
Good way to stamp his authority on that game too. Just
4 games, 2-2.
throwing in another serve volley there. Dimitrov obliging by chipping a floater, and Kay dealing with it.
I like that play too. Serve volley, you're up 40 love. You've got a little bit of breathing room. And what it does, it just creates a little bit of doubt in Dimitrov's mind the next time he's facing a return on second court there. You know, might have to chip this with a bit more quality because K might just follow it in with the serve volley. And that's what it's about with K, isn't it? Not a natural serve volleyer, but being able to do it just once or twice a set to create that seed of doubt on the returner's mind. Something my coach used to tell me, but still not listening to him.
Oh. Well, he was standing and almost delivering from the baseline there, Dimitrov, but
it's extremely hard, though, to play through K, especially out to that backhand wing. I feel like with pace into the backhand corner, Nishikori's so hard to play through. He loves it coming into the slot, and he just counter punches and uses that one so well out of that backhand wing.
Big point at love 30.
15-30.
It's a great one too. It's a great example of serving to set up the next shot, and that's one of Dimitrov's plays there. He slides it out wide, looks to hit that forehand into the open court, and he'd be practicing that.
No margin for error.
Now, it requires very good movement, very good footwork to
30 on.
deal with that shot effectively. The ball's coming fast back down the centre of the court, and to create the necessary space to be able to execute that forehand to the shortest part of the court is certainly easier said than done. And these world-class players can sometimes make it look easy.
So that was interesting there from K. Generally, he's taking the ball nice and early on the return of serve.
30-40.
In that case, and Dimitrov didn't quite see that, but K went back, used his wheels to give it a little bit more shape and give himself just a little bit more time to get into that point. And again, he's just throwing that little bit of seed, that little bit of doubt into Dimitrov's mind. I love a bit of variation on returns.
Absolutely,
into where
Johnny.
you stand, because you want the server to maybe concentrate on you a little bit more.
No, he's missed. It was a loose forehand, and wow, this second set has just blown away. Nishikori leading 5-2.
Nishikori leads 5 games to 2.
Without the ebbs and flows, because
Yeah, well, Johnny and I were talking earlier about, you know, the fact that he made a good push the back half of the year and really got some momentum going. And obviously, you'd have to credit Danny 𝕉𝖉𝖔𝖘 for a lot of his improvement. And, you know, without knowing the ins and outs, it could be just a question of he worked harder in the back half of the year. Perhaps he has a little bit more clarity with what he's trying to do on the tennis court. Because, as I mentioned, guys with a lot of shots and a lot of talent, sometimes they can get a little bit confused as to what they're trying to do on the court because they have too many shots at their disposal.
Dimitrov's obviously immensely talented, and he's been top 10 before, and I no doubt he can get a lot higher.
15 love.
I think where Nishikori, you know, he was 55 and 18 or something for the year. Incredible record. Grigor, great shot. Grigor just lacked that consistency. I think before working with Danny up
30
until,
love.
you know, around that Washington time, end of July, or yeah, he lost 7 first rounds, and a player of Dimitrov's caliber just can't be doing that. And the top guys are just so consistent. They take care of business against the guys they should beat and have a crack against those ones that are in and around their rank.
oh, slipping over at a crucial point. So, well, this has been a An easy service game. We mentioned earlier 1 minute 6 seconds for the previous service game from Nishikori, and now 3 set points in the blink of an eye. This could be all square very shortly. That game lasting about 1 minute and 2 seconds. And we've rifled through 2 sets a minute. In fact, 1 hour and 9 minutes overall. And we're back to 1 set all in the men's final.
1 set all. New balls, please.
Well,
it really does make a difference to have the likes of Luke and the rest of the ATP team looking after you, and something that hopefully down the track can be implemented a little bit more at the challenger and future level.
You can't fault Grigor Dimitrov for his fluid intake. He's absolutely smashed that electrolyte drink that he took in there, and he's very pedantic, just like Rafa with where he puts the bottles. Have you got any idiosyncrasies there, John?
I used to be crazy. I reckon I had a bit of a case of OCD back in the day when I was a little kid. When I drink, I like to drink in a certain order, you know, the water and then the electrolytes and the gels. But yeah, I'm hoping I've stamped it out a little bit, because it probably got the better of me when I was 12 or 13. I was into touching things a certain amount of times, and yeah, I was all over the shop. So yeah, I'm glad I've kind of stamped that one out of there.
There's a fine line between routine and superstition sometimes, and you're never quite sure when the line is crossed.
Well, to Nishikori's credit, when he went off for the bathroom break after the first set, he got his head right, that's for sure, because he's come out blasting. And the fans from Japan, or even just the fans that want to be from Japan.
Medical timeout starts now.
Like Daniel LaRusso.
They're a little bit more relaxed now.
And there must be something niggling and playing on Kay's mind, because he really started to dominate that second set. We talk about momentum. He had it in abundance. And yeah, this could just halt it just a little bit going off. He's a crowd favourite, Rafa, wasn't he? They really enjoyed him here in Brisbane.
Signs of giving us a lot of entertainment. There was a cute moment earlier on in the tournament where we had a lady hoist a banner saying a proud bald kid mum. And then as the camera zoomed in on the bald kid, he was very embarrassed.
They're good, aren't they, these Suncorp signs? I know you can go and make them out the front here, and everyone's really enjoyed making their signs and really flying the flags there. They're all out, aren't they? Gee whiz.
Now we believe through our spies in the tunnel that it's a left thigh injury for Kei Nishikori.
Llewellyn Tubby's hot, apparently. These are great.
Yeah, generally for a player to go off court, it's going to be a groin or a thigh or a hip flexor injury of some sort.
He retired at Wimbledon last year due to a rib injury, but he has had some hip issues at Shanghai and also Tokyo. There was a walkover in a tournament in Germany as well because of his a rib issue. So he has had hip and rib issues during last season. But then, as we've said off air, John, who hasn't got niggles as tennis players? It's a part of the gig.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Tennis is a lot more physical than probably what people give it credit for. We're not getting crash tackled or anything like that, but these hard courts are hard, and there's a lot of strain that goes through the body. I think especially someone like Kei, you know, he's very physical, he moves a lot of energy is required to play his style, and with that, you know, these little niggles will come, and hopefully you prevent them early enough from turning them into something a bit more serious.
And as this delay continues, Grigor Dimitrov's out on the court. He's just keeping moving. Is half the battle just to stay mentally neutral and just not overthink it whilst he's waiting?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to stay warm out there, and obviously, you know, wants to get off to a good start in this first game and reassert himself on the match. He would be fully aware that the momentum has completely shifted against him. But having said that, the set's over. Time to start again from 0-all. And yeah, as we've spoken about, momentum shifts can happen very quickly in a match. So if he can get off to a solid start here and gain the ascendancy, then he'll like his chances.
Not a bad thing, though, for Grigor Dimitrov. Mentally, I would have thought that he's just had a really tough second set, been beaten 2-6, but his opponent's in the locker room being treated. Gives a little bit of confidence back, I guess.
And it just holds that momentum that Kay was.
Take your seats quickly,
there.
please. Ladies and gentlemen, seats, please.
Kay will be feeling pretty happy that he's got himself back into this match. And
Time.
back into the shootout of the third set.
2 more time, please.
I thought prior to going into this match that it
Final
could
set.
go to a deciding set. I didn't quite predict that the opening 2 sets would be 6-2 apiece. I thought it'd be a little
Dimitrov
bit
to
closer.
serve.
In deciding sets, Kay won 14 of 20 last year. Grigor won 13 out of 25. So the men's international
15 love.
in Brisbane comes down to this set.
Thirty love.
Good start here for Grigor. Kay's going to go and change his racket here.
40 love.
Gets done 6 a match. I was speaking to the stringers yesterday. 6 or 7 a match. I think Grigor gets 5 done per match.
Grigor taking advantage of the new balls here, a little bit more life in the ball.
Game Dimitrov.
Landing 4 first serves with new balls, always hard to combat.
Well, some very quick service games for both players. That's just encroached
First game.
on 60 seconds.
Final set.
A lightning start for the number 7 seed, number 17 in the world, who lives in Monte Carlo, born in Hoskovo in Bulgaria.
Did a fair bit of his pre-season at 𝕽𝖆𝖵𝖔𝖘, where they play the Masters event in Miami, and Kay just up the road at the IMG Academy, also in Florida. He did duck home, Kay, got over to Tokyo, saw his family, Shimane, and then went to 𝕽𝖆𝖵𝖔𝖘, a current professional tennis player's wedding. He said the celebrations were good.
So again, we see Nishikori opt for the first serve out wide and unsuccessful.
I wonder who'd have more of the attention on them at Go's wedding.
15 all.
Bride and the groom or the King of Japan?
We heard that Federer had his dance card full at the Hopman Cup ball, so perhaps the same at Go's wedding, Johnny.
There
What do you
would have
think?
been a lot of admirers there. He wouldn't have been short of the dance invitation, I imagine. The Japanese, they love to party. I play there at the end of the year, normally each year, and business people are out on their Christmas lunches, turning into dinners, turning into a bit of late night karaoke.
30 all.
As Johnny mentioned too, the Japanese people are so lovely, so respectful. We have a lot of player nights during the year, whether it's a challenger event or a tour event, and all the officials and even the players get decked out in suits and just look $1 million. There's no rocking up in jeans and a t-shirt. It's arriving in formal attire, and they do a really good job with their player nights.
Challenging the call.
We're going to have a look
Left
at this call
centre
down the
service
middle line.
Was called out.
He's hoping that it hit a little bit of paint. It's ambitious. It is close.
Goal stand, second serve.
Followed it in beautifully after a deep ground stroke. And Dimitrov now. This is a massive point coming up.
Quite an average second serve there from
two challenges
which
remaining.
Dimitrov dealt with. Got good depth on the return and set himself up for the attack.
Massive point, break point early in the decider. Great answer down the middle.
He gives a little fist pump to his coach there.
Deuce.
Landing first serves on break points, so critical.
Just hitting.
Yeah, Grigor will be disappointed with that one.
Advantage.
Really wasn't under pressure too
Nishikori.
much there. Well balanced and, yeah, just pulled up and out of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
what about the
Nishikori.
swing on that one? And it's a massive, massive hole.
Boomerang. That thing was really moving.
He hit the umpire.
One game all.
We can see
really
that
was, wasn't
it's
it?
hit, yeah, more than halfway across the backstop. So we saw again there a quality slice cross, and straight away
15
Dimitrov
love.
moving to his left to try to get a forehand for the next ball, which he achieved.
That is the seventh ace of the match for Grigor Dimitrov.
He started off this set serving so well, has Grigor, 83% for the set. 10 or 11% higher than his match average so far. So he's really serving and found that rhythm early on in this third set, which would be encouraging for him.
Great placement in that
40 love.
third point of the game. So again, another quick service game.
What that does, it just puts the pressure right back on K.
Easy
Game,
for
Dimitrov.
Grigor Dimitrov.
Yeah, great serving there. 8 out of 9. First two service games
Dimitrov
and all
leads 2
quality.
games to 1.
Deal to be serving first in the deciding set, in my opinion. As you said, Matt, you've always got your nose in front while you're holding serve, and yeah, just applies that little bit more pressure on your opponent.
Probably just gives you a little bit of freedom mentally to have a good attack at the first couple of serves, a couple of free hits, if you like.
Yeah.
So what twist have we got in this final set of the Brisbane International? Nishikori serving. We're on serve in the deciding set.
Go home and write that one in your notebook. That slide of the first chord, I'm just
15.
surprised how much he's gone to that serve.
Last year, Grigor Dimitrov won 30 of 38 matches where he won the first set. The other side of the coin, Nishikori won 11 out of 26 after losing the first set.
Nice point. Great change up down the line there from Nishikori.
It came from nowhere.
Well, he's played that slice as Grigor,
15
and
all.
he's looking for the next ball to get around and use that forehand. So he kind of goes into that corner. You know, he's not going to fully recover there. His first step is actually back in and around to hit that off forehand, predicting K's cross court, but K's outfoxed him and played a great backhand line. Backhand down the line again, reaping the rewards. Just catching Grigor just slightly off balance.
15.
Grigor has actually got a great running forehand cross. Be disappointed he's missed both of them.
$40-15.
Team Nishikori watching intently. And that's a masterful shot from just inside the baseline. He's an absolute genius when it comes to those drop shots. And he levels it up in fine style at 2-all.
A couple of beautiful backhand lines in that game, off slice backhands from Dimitrov, which K needs to do just to keep him honest. As Johnny mentioned, Grigor looking to back around and hit forehands. So if your opponent can actually fire a few backhands up the line, then you have to be mindful of that. Return, which you don't see too often.
Not 15.
Set up by where he took that return, a metre inside the baseline. Therefore not allowing Grigor's kick serve to get up too high. If he was a little bit hesitant there, he just would have climbed too high to hit that shot.
Good deeps and wide serve from Dimitrov.
15 all.
Developed into a real tussle now, this third set.
He's definitely looked to serve his flat ones, has Grigor. Tee and wide. Even though it's probably K's better return. Backhand.
Oh. K throws his head back, knows he caught a good piece of that.
30-15.
Would love to have had it 2 or 3 inches higher.
He had him beat too, didn't he? Great shot.
Wow.
K's as fast as one of these Peugeot cars, one of the official Peugeot cars, but there's no way you could get that. Great angle. Cutting sideline inside the service box.
Off quite a deep ball too, Johnny.
Yeah. He really held his ground, didn't he? He was really strong out of that right side, planted, backed himself.
That's talent right there.
Tough to do, isn't it? And these courts aren't the slowest ever, so it is tough at times to, off something deep, to hold that baseline position, but really strong through the core, through his legs. Great racket head speed to generate that angle.
Well, he's let himself down with a double fault. First double fault of the set for Dimitrov.
Never a good time to double fault, but I suppose if you're going to do it, 40-15 is one of the better times.
Great serve to the body of Nishikori. There wasn't a great deal he could do about that, and he's got his nose in front again. He leads 3-2.
Dimitrov leads 3-2.
To get Murray and Djokovic there, but Chennai probably lacked a little bit of the same quality that Brisbane has had, and you know, players just love coming here. There's a lot of positives to coming to Brisbane. You acclimatise to the conditions and the weather just a little bit sooner. You know, they're a little bit more similar to obviously what they'll face a week's time now at the Grand Slam, which is the grand final for a lot of these players. You know, that's where they want to do well, and that's where Kay will probably be looking to do a little bit better. Obviously made the semi-finals of the US, but quarterfinals and round of 16s of the other 3 majors. I think that's what Kay's probably earmarked this year, as to where he'd probably like to make a few more inroads.
15 love.
Good start to this service game.
Is that a tee serve?
It was.
Is that down the tee?
That was his 3rd ace of the match, as opposed to Dimitrov's 7.
There we go.
Dirty love.
Fergus just given the nod to Dimitrov that he thought it was just long. Change up slow one.
Yeah.
Getting then, he kind of swung through that shot before the ball had even gotten to him, resulting in a frame, a bit of a shank.
May have been a wide one that didn't quite hit the mark, and Dimitrov was caught very early on the return.
Beautiful deep backhand from Dimitrov.
40-15.
He's still got a mountain to climb here in this game of service game of Nishikori. Oh, now Dimitrov going down heavily. Seen him slip a couple of times during the tournament, but signals to the umpire he's okay. But
Yeah, Grigor right in front of us here. It didn't look like anything too major, just lost his balance a little bit.
Nishikori. 3 games on.
Just a little bit of a tweak on the ankle.
Didn't he? I think he just stubbed his toe. His toe almost gripped into the coil a little bit. I think he'll be fine.
So some drama in this deciding set. It's 3-all. The all-important 7th game. Dimitrov serving.
Been really hitting that tee serve well to the juice court in this set particularly.
15 love.
Serving well for the set, isn't he? At 80%.
80%.
Hitting
Gonna get it done.
spots.
Great work from Dimitrov there, because he got himself into a little bit of trouble with an average second serve. Kay was all over it, and he managed to wrestle back his way into the point and got the job done for 30 love. Beautiful play. I actually think Dimitrov thought that Kay was coming in behind the return there and intentionally hit a short slice cross. It was still very effective.
What that's tough to do there is to get that up and down from that low slice down the line is extremely hard. And
beautiful flowing backhand.
Game, Dimitrov.
So it's an important hole for Dimitrov. Just keeps that scoreboard pressure up, and he leads 4-3 in the third set.
Dimitrov leads 4 games to 3. Time.
So the crowd understanding the importance of where we're at here in this deciding set. Dimitrov, that scoreboard pressure leading 4-3.
So important, these first couple of points for Kay. Won't want to build up any pressure by playing a couple of cheap ones. Gives a little fist pump there. Looks to his box. He knows the importance of getting off to a good start in this service game. 4-3 in the third.
Getting deeper into this decider. 85% of points won when he lands a first serve. 75% percentage of first serves for the match. So he's very consistent.
Dirty love.
Great change up there.
Certainly a set that's been dominated by serve. We see Dimitrov winning 100% of his first serve points, serving at 79% in for first serves, and Nishikori also winning a healthy percentage of his first serve points.
That was the fourth ace for Nishikori. Smacking that one down the line, Dimitrov.
30-15.
Sitting at court level there, that first slice that Dimitrov hit was nearly going underground, which really allowed him to get around and look for that forehand.
Yeah, he's really had to pick that one off of his shoelaces there. Forcing the error.
Yeah, great width there by Dimitrov. As quick as Nishikori is, still feeling like you're under pressure from that wide out to hit a winner. You kind of got to go for broke from there.
Well, we come to a very interesting point at 30 all.
Does he go to his old faithful? Is he going to go wide?
Yep, he went after it with a serve volley.
A longer rally won by Dimitrov on that occasion. And it's now 30-40 and a break point opportunity for Dimitrov. His eyes will be lighting up.
Yeah, he'll be licking his lips if Kay misses the first serve here. I think he'll be looking to get around and hunt another forehand and hopefully inflict more damage.
Wasn't going to let it slip. So Dimitrov breaks at the most crucial stage and leads 5-3 in the third and final set.
Okay, visibly
Dimitrov
upset with himself there.
leads 5 games to 3.
Threw the towel in
he
absolute disgust.
Was not happy.
So the balls are in the hands of Grigor Dimitrov serving for the championship.
Interesting, really, at 30-40 to see the mindset of these players. Dimitrov had 2 options there. Do I be aggressive or do I try to be patient? He really decided he'd go after this, take his chances, and it paid dividends.
Well, the first job done.
15 love.
When serving out the set, the match, that first point is so pivotal.
It's a great feeling to win that first point, isn't it, Johnny? Just to
Look at the unreturned serves in this third set. Dimitrov's at 50%, showing just how effective and how well he's hitting his spots. And he's getting a look at a lot of Kay's serves. Kay's only at 25% of unreturned serves there.
There's a couple of really loose errors the first 2 points from Kay. Probably a flow-on effect from just having been broken.
30 love.
That's what makes tennis so difficult. You've got to shake off the disappointment so quickly and regroup.
Well, Dimitrov can see the finish line now, 2 points away. No, sets up 3 match points.
love.
So the moment for Grigor Dimitrov. Runner-up here 4 years ago has 3 championship points. He's done. And what a statement he's made in Brisbane.
2 sets to 1. 6-2, 2-6, 6-3.
Well, he's been impressive. He has hit them cleanly all week. And is this the resurgence he's after reaching that top 10 3 years ago? Could this be the start of something, John Millman?
I think the start of that was back in Toronto. I think that's when it all happened for him. The appointment of Danny 𝕼𝖆𝖔. And I know Dimitrov has to hit the balls out there, but what a partnership they've formed. You know, coming from 40 to finishing the year 17. Now going on to start off in perfect fashion here in Brisbane. He'll be extremely happy. Hard work's paid off in the off-season, and I'll tell you what, there'll be a few guys who don't want to face Grigor in that round of 32 match. down at the Australian Open, because he's a tough high seed. He's playing some great tennis.
It's great for men's tennis too, because he is such a stylish, flamboyant player to watch with a wide array of shots, and I think the general tennis fan loves to watch that.
And also the not so general tennis fan that falls in love with his game when they first see him play.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great for the sport as well.
You alluded to it at the start of the match, Matt. He's often been called baby Fed, and whether he likes that or not, I mean, Federer is the most popular player going round, and part of that is because of the grace with which he plays the game, and we see Dimitrov play in a very similar fashion.
So we see similar stats in that match summary. So what was the difference?
For me, I think just the third set there, Grigor served a little better. He kept the pressure on by holding serve easily. Obviously, we saw that he won 100% of his first serve points in the third set. And Nishikori just went off a little bit at 3-4 there. Whether he felt the pressure knowing that they were at the business end of the set, missed a few first serves, and it was just kind of enough for Grigor to get on top of some of those second serves and take the advantage in that critical 8th game.
I think there's fine margins in tennis.
Tennis, Craig Willis.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our presentation after an outstanding singles final here at the Brisbane International for 2017. Let's again give both players a rousing round of applause. Well done, gentlemen. Great game of tennis to watch. We're joined for our presentation by the Honourable Jackie Trad MP, Acting Premier of Queensland, Councillor Krista Adams, Councillor for Holland Park, Mr Stephen Healy, President of Tennis Australia, Mr Mark Bloomfield, President of Tennis Queensland, and isn't it great to see this man on Pat Rafter Arena? Let's welcome Mr Roy Emerson. Also joining us, Mr Mark Darby, ATP Tour Supervisor, and our Tournament Director, Mr Jeff Quinlan, who's done an outstanding job, I think you'll agree, presenting the Brisbane International for 2017. Our first most pleasurable duty is to acknowledge our chair umpire, and I'm going to invite Mark Bloomfield to present Mr Fergus Murphy from Dublin, Ireland, with a magnificent Rado timepiece. This is the Hyperchrome Court Collection. Let's give Fergus a round of applause. He did a great job in the chair tonight. And it now gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome to the microphone the Acting Premier of Queensland, the Honourable Jackie Trad.
Well, can I start by acknowledging Australian tennis great Roy Emerson. It is fantastic of you to be here with us at the Brisbane International. Can I acknowledge not only are you a world #1, born and bred in Queensland, but you're also the namesake of the trophy here tonight, and it's great for you to be here tonight. Can I thank everyone for coming, not only tonight, but through the whole tournament. We've seen some 96,000 people through the gates, through the Brisbane International, yep. And why not? We've had some amazing tennis with with 5 of the top 10 ranked players from both men's and women's playing here over the course of the week. We've seen some fantastic play by Australians here as well, namely tonight. It's been a fantastic week, and I do want to thank Tennis Australia for hosting tonight and for hosting this week and putting it on. But can I say also a big thanks to all the players over the course of the week, all of the volunteers and the ball kids who have made this event so fantastic. To our men's finalists, Kai, thank you very much. You played outstanding tennis tonight. Grigor, you were just a little bit better tonight, and we congratulate you wholeheartedly on some fantastic tennis and your win tonight. Thank you very much.
Jackie, thank you, and thank you to the Queensland Government for their outstanding support of this wonderful, wonderful tennis event. Now let's welcome the President of Tennis Australia, Mr Stephen Healy.
Well, good evening, everyone, and been a fantastic tournament in this magnificent venue. I want to thank all of the Queensland crowd who turn out every year and support this tournament in their numbers. We set a number of records during the week, particularly in night sessions. It's fantastic. Thank you, and to all of the fans around the country who've watched on TV also. My very special thanks to the Queensland Government for their great support, and to Suncorp and to all of our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. Congratulations to Jeff Quinlan in his first year as Tournament Director, and all the Tennis Australia team have done a fantastic job. And finally to the players, 5 top 10 men, 5 top 10 women in the draw. It says a lot about this tournament, culminating in the great final tonight, and congratulations to Kay and Grigor, and best of luck for the Australian Open. Thank you.
Steve, thank you. I'm now going to invite Councillor Krista Adams to present the finalist trophy to Nishikori of Japan.
First of all, congrats to Grigor, playing great tennis, and also his team, Danny and everyone there. And also thanks to all the sponsors and ball boys, volunteers. It was a great tournament again. This is my, I think, 6 years now, and first time being final, so I was very happy this week. And always want to thanks to my team there. I hope we have a great Aussie Open next 2-3 weeks. I hope I'm going to come back next year, and hope someday I want to get this title. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you, of course, heading down to Melbourne for the Australian Open Tennis Championship of 2017. Well, the winner of the Brisbane International Men's Singles traditionally receives the Roy Emerson Trophy. I'm going to invite Roy to come forward and present it to our 2017 champion, Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria.
Yeah. It's been. First of all, I just, of course, just want to say to Kay, I mean, it's always one of the toughest competitors out there. What a tremendous way to finish that tournament. Wishing you best of luck for Melbourne, and I'm sure that's not going to be our last match. Well, on my behalf now, it's been pretty emotional, I think, past year, so for me this trophy means a lot. It's been, I think, these 10 days out here for this tournament have been, I think, the most fun I've ever had on a tennis court and off the court, so I just want to say a big thanks to my team. Danny, that's our first trophy together. Seb, thank you. Seb, this one goes also for you. Thank you for keeping my body in shape and being so hard on myself, and most of all being my friend. So thank you so much for that. Casey, welcome to the team. Well, yeah, thank you so much to all of you guys. I mean, this crowd here to kick off the year, it's pretty amazing. And every time I play out here, I feel like home. So first of all, thank you guys. Thank you. Also, thanks to the sponsors, to the tournament director, for everyone. Everyone has been tremendous, excellent hospitality. We all feel very welcome. Thanks, of course, to all the sponsors, the chairmen, the physios, everyone that is working to make that tournament happen. And well, yeah, off to Melbourne, guys. So let's do this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
He's a wonderful player. And ladies and gentlemen, again, a deserved champion here at the Brisbane International for 2017. Another round of applause for Grigor Dimitrov. Folks, we haven't quite finished formalities yet. I'm going to invite our tournament director, Jeff Quinlan, just to come forth and say a few words.
Thanks, Craig, and what a great week we've had this week at the Brisbane International. Once again, congratulations to our new champion, Grigor Dimitrov, and our finalist, 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛. And also, thanks to you, we've had record crowds on a number of nights throughout the week, and I'd like to announce, and I'm really pleased to announce, that tonight's a record crowd for the men's final, so thanks very much. We're so thankful for your support, and it's certainly not taken for granted, your patronage, so thanks very much. Our goal is to deliver a world-class event that launches the Australian Summer of Tennis. With that in mind, we're committed to building on the event, the facilities, the fan experience, but most importantly, bringing the world's best tennis players to Brisbane. Players like Rafael Nadal, Stan Wawrinka, Angelique Kerber, Caroline Pliskova, and of course, players like Grigor Dimitrov and Nishikori. Look, I hope you've enjoyed the event and you've been inspired to play, and if so, please pick up a racket, visit your local club and enjoy a game of tennis. Also to our sponsors, without which this wouldn't be possible, to Suncorp and Tourism and Events Queensland, thanks so much for your support. Finally, a special thanks to the dedicated team that deliver this event. They are so committed, hard-working and passionate. To the staff and the volunteers, please put your hands together for that committed team. Thanks once again. Enjoy the summer of tennis, and I look forward to seeing you all again next year.
Jeff, thank you. You've done an outstanding job, my friend. Now, as you've heard throughout the Aces for Charity, and thanks to Treasury Brisbane, there were 334 aces served at the Brisbane International, which means $83,500 is donated to Ronald McDonald House, South East Queensland. So thanks again to Treasury Brisbane for the charitable Aces for Hearts initiative. That is an outstanding amount, $83,500. And thanks to the players for taking part, and thanks to the players for serving 334 aces. It's a great effort. Folks, that's it. You're going to come back next year? I hope so, because we'll be here for the Brisbane International 2018. Safe journey home. Thank you very much.
So a deserved winner in Grigor Dimitrov, and it just could be the start of something big for him this summer. Great three-set match, and by the sound of it, Nishikori, he's desperate to come back now. He was quarter-finalist previously here, finalist this year. I think he's got his eyes on that trophy for next year.
A great supporter of the tournament is Kay, and loves starting off the year here in Brisbane. He came close today, but Grigor was just a little bit too good. Fantastic event. Congrats to Jeff and the team here. They've put together another outstanding event at one of the premier 250 ATPs in the world. So they're really setting the bar high. And a big thanks to all the volunteers too, because I did an orientation day with them, and without them it would not be possible at all.
The players have really enjoyed it, and I know Grigor Dimitrov has wrapped the tournament continuously all week, but they're very well looked after in a beautiful part of the world, and there is just something about this arena and this whole event that just gives it that bit of oomph, that extra feel, a bigger tournament than what it actually is, and being a lead up to the Australian Open, but it really is a feature now of the Australian Open series.
Yeah, the players obviously talk, and word gets around when it is a quality event, and you know, needless to say, we've seen unbelievable fields pretty much every year since its inception, and I'm hoping and I'm sure that we will continue to have strong fields, great fan support, and obviously for Johnny and I, we live here, and it's just wonderful for Queensland tennis to have this in our backyard and to have the quality players that we do see every year come here.
So some great shots to finish on. There is our champion and also our finalists. And in the end, it was the number 7 seed, Grigor Dimitrov, taking out the Brisbane International on behalf of Draper and John Millman. It's goodbye from Queensland.